Hey, I'm Quincy and I'm a radio personality, but just like you, I'm always wanting to make better health choices for myself and of course for my family. Now that's why I've teamed up with my friend Dr. Dean Tyndall and the fine folks of New Life Naturopathic, the creators of new-lifeweightloss.com, to bring you a podcast focused on giving you the information you need to make the best health decisions for you and your family. Now, that's going to be without sway from what mainstream medicine has become. Now, this podcast, Pursuit of New Life, we're going to release one each Friday. And we're going to focus on debunking the mainstream medicine myths now associated with naturopathic, holistic medicine, while giving you clear insight into ways you can make your health a lifestyle and not a jump from fad diet to fad diet. Experts in the fields of biochemistry, chiropractic, physiology, women's health, and much more will weigh in on a range of topics, all designed to open your eyes, expand your knowledge, and bring you to new life. Now be sure to subscribe to Pursuit of New Life on all the podcast platforms, and also follow us on YouTube at newlifenaturopathic.com, and be joining us every Friday for Pursuit of New Life.
Hey there and welcome. We are very excited that you've joined us on this journey, we're making our way through several episodes already. So it's time to kind of do some questions and answers with our New Life Naturopathic Holistic team. We do not have Dr. Stuber today. She's a very busy lady, but we are going to have the rest of the team here. Dr. Dean Tyndall, Miriam is here, and we are going to have some questions from some folks that have either been listening or been patients. And the first question really, I think that we should do, since it's been a few episodes now, is Dr. Tyndall, do a quick, what is naturopathic? When we're talking about that, there's so many people that just think that's a crazy hippie word in the first place. So let's help people understand a little better what naturopathic is.
Well, actually, naturopathic care has been around since recorded history. Basically, what naturopathic care is, you use lifestyle changes, nutrition, supplements, herbs, different things like that to address health concerns and health problems with people. So you're treating the problem, not the disease. And so whereas medical doctors, they treat the disease and not the person. That makes any sense.
That makes very good sense. Miriam, do you have anything you would like to add to that as far as naturopathic and maybe a layman's term, kind of what people are looking for and maybe what can help people think of why they want to come into naturopathic care instead of the other way?
I think the main idea of naturopathic medicine is you are working with the body and how the natural bodily processes happen versus trying to force the body to do things that it wouldn't do naturally. I think that's a pretty good way to put it from my perspective.
Yeah, I like that. Because we're supposed to work with what we have and not try to get all this outside stuff to do it.
Exactly.
All the quick fixes. Yeah. And speaking of the quick fixes, Dr. Tyndall, we were talking about something before this episode that there's a lot of these, fads and gummies and things like that. So when you're looking to make lifestyle changes, those red flags of, hey, let's fix it with a gummy, let's talk about that here for a moment.
Okay. Well, what happens to a lot of people is everybody's looking for the quick fix. They're looking for the magic powder, potion, or pill. And the problem is it doesn't exist, but everybody wants it to exist. Yeah. So, I just saw an ad come across, like, with Facebook, because we were posting some information about curing COPD within like 15 minutes or stuff. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. I'd like to know how to do that. Because it's chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's usually from smoking and years of emphysema or years of problems. And as I read through the article, this doctors and these people are going on about how great it is, and I get to the bottom of the article, and it's basically CBD gummies. So apparently CBD gummies are the cure for everything. But the sad thing is, if you're go on to YouTube, it's fun, and watch how they actually make these gummies. You would vomit. But yeah, these are supposed to be healthy for you, and you're going to cure your COPD within 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So, while we're talking about how, some of those things get confused with alternative medicine, which is what they try to call naturopathy as well, as we've talked about in other episodes. So we've spent a couple of times talking about, the things that are different between naturopathy and mainstream medicine and some of those other things. And we've talked about what's wrong with healthcare and some of that. That takes a lot of episodes to do. I'm sure this won't be the last time. But what about the difference between, doing naturopathic medicine right and some of the other naturopathic options that are out there? Maybe give us a good compare contrast in that area that people can be looking for too.
Okay. And I'll give it to myself as a professional, and I'll have Miriam answer that too, as a person who has sought and finally,
Yeah.
we got together. So for me, when I see it, when I see people promise you there's a magic powder, potion, or pill out there that you have to do this, you don't have to change your lifestyle, you don't have to exercise, you don't have to do blah, 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 that you can just continue the way you're going off the cliff. But if you take my gummy or you take this miracle treatment, or that'll absolve you of all your past sins and your body's going to be healthy. And if they're selling you that, you need to run away. And the reason they're selling it to you, because again, they know that you want the easy way out. Everybody wants the easy way out. What we try to explain to patients is our focus is on, first of all, ethics is a big thing for us. And so our focus is on telling you stuff that you need to hear that you don't want to hear. That, first of all, if you want to be healthy, you have to be healthy in your eating. You have to be healthy in your lifestyle. You want to make life inconvenient, which we've talked about, like, moving around, being active. But being healthy is from all standpoints. You can't just pick, I'm going to take a gummy, but I can go out and still drink my bourbon, and I can, because we're down here in Kentucky. Or go to the fast food restaurant, sit on the couch, not move. You've been sitting all day in front of the computer, and then I want to go home and I'm going to sit in front of the TV. Well, that's not really conducive for health. So, if you don't have a doctor that's addressing all aspects of your lifestyle and looking at all aspects of your lifestyle, then they're just selling you something.
And so, Miriam, from your perspective, let's talk about that too, because you had to go look for another option. So let us get your perspective on this too.
Yeah. So, I think, and actually, can we go back to the question again?
So what the way that we're asking this question, and a listener asked this question, kind of, is there's lots of options out there, even under the naturopathic umbrella. And so you had to seek out, and you were looking for naturopathic when you were finding some things, and you found Dr. Tyndall. What makes good naturopathic different from some of the other options that are out there on the naturopathic side even?
Right. Yeah. So as we've talked about in many previous sessions, there are so many fads out there, not just with naturopathic medicine, but just weight loss and just health in general, but especially with naturopathic, because it's kind of one of those fields that has unfortunately died down. And, the government has a lot to do with that. They shut down a lot of the universities and the schools that originally taught naturopathic medicine. Right. And although, naturopathic and holistic health are the original medicine and healthcare, and, of course, Big Pharma took over. But as Dr. Tyndall said, and following up with that, if there are these fads that are promising you this quick and easy kind of a trip to better health, that might work short term, but the whole point of naturopathic, holistic, alternative medicine is to improve your health long term and expand longevity, and not only the quality, but also add years to your life. And anyone that's promising you anything quick, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, it might work quickly in the short term, but you're probably going to suffer in the long run, and a lot of worse consequences than you had previously.
Yeah. Well, we've talked many times about lifestyle over fad change, for sure. And, you know, the fads and the gummies and all of that kind of stuff, like you said, it can be the quick thing, and it might even do something in the short term, but not the long term. So,
Yeah.
you know, Dr. Tyndall, one of the other things that I think people want to understand is when they are looking for maybe even this path, naturopathic path, as Miriam had to do at one point, is how do they find a good one? And we've talked about some of the things to, you know, some of the red flags if they're trying to sell you something and things like that. So is it possible, as Miriam did, she came out of the mainstream medicine idea and said, this is for me because naturopathy is doing it the right way. Dr. Dean Tyndall and his team is doing it the right way. What are some things that maybe can happen? Does a doctor that switches and comes to naturopathy bring a philosophy with them? Like, what can they look for as they're looking for the right naturopathic options for them?
Okay. So what I've found over the years of doing this, I've been doing it for about 27 years now. Um, the people who I find to make the best naturopathic doctors are people who actually start out with from a holistic approach. Like I, as a chiropractor, that's a holistic approach, and it has to do with philosophy. Excuse me, which am I? So here's what I tend to find. If you we have some healthcare professionals around here that try to do health, naturopathic or a holistic practice, and the problem that they do is they bring their philosophy with them, and that usually makes the biggest difference. So the philosophy is like, for example, chiropractic is we're adjusting the spine, we're releasing interference with the spine, restoring joint motion. We don't fix people, we don't heal people. What we do is we get the body into a better position or better shape functionally, so the body can heal itself. Same thing goes with the naturopathic work. What you're trying to do with when we do our assessment, we're looking at your lifestyle, we're looking at all these things, because lifestyle is 80% of the cause,
Right.
And so we look at these things, and we're adjusting your lifestyle, your diet, your sleep habits, stress. We're trying to look at everything that you're doing to try to get you on a healthier path. And when I see medical doctors or nurse practitioners get into the holistic realm and naturopathic work, is they still bring their philosophy of, well, if we give you enough supplements, if we give you a massive dose of vitamin C, then you're going to be healthy. They don't. Most of them I've ever dealt with, because we get people at the end, say they've gone through doctors, and they've gone through they've gone through everybody by the time they get here. And so what happens, we get to hear these stories of, I went to this other doctor, and they did, $15,000 worth of testing on me, and they did this and they did that, and they put me on high doses of ascorbic acid, and you're back to the thing of what you're trying to do is you're replacing drugs. I'm going to give you a bunch of drugs to get you force your body to go somewhere. And that's what Miriam said earlier about forcing your body, versus I'm going to give you, now they go, I'm going to give you a bunch of or vitamin complexes, and most of them are synthetic. Then I'm going to force your body to do something, and it makes toxicity problems and makes health issues.
Well, because it's not that you guys don't do supplements, you just do the right ones to help get the lifestyle path on the right path, right?
Well, we hope we do the right ones.
Yeah,
that's why, I'm saying, so what we use is we use a lot of standard process and med herb. We use whole food supplements. There's a big difference. We'll kind of maybe do a show on that, on the difference between synthetic nutrition and whole food nutrition. Because I tell people, like, well, you take this bottle of, this is Easy Mag. It's a magnesium product. It doesn't just have magnesium. It's got probably several hundred different types of chemicals, because it comes from plant. So that plant, like, for example, a carrot has like 260 known chemicals in it. We don't know what maybe 2 of them do.
So bugs better have it figured out, I tell you.
Yeah. So you're better off taking a bunch of beta carotene or eating a carrot. Well, you're better off eating a carrot.
Yeah.
And so what we try to do is when we do our assessment, we're addressing all those things. And then what we're trying to figure out is how they're physiologically, how they're messed up. That's what's causing the disease, because your physiology is messed up. And how we use the supplements to target that physiology and restore proper function. Thus, you get healthier. Thus, your symptoms and problems go away.
Yeah, and it gets you on the right path toward that. Miriam, anything you want to add in this area?
I would say, just remember that everyone is different, and we always want to go with an individualized approach instead of, one thing that works for everyone. And just like Dr. Tyndall said, it's just like how we only know 2% of the ocean and all of the species in it. It's infinite, the amount that we don't know, the amount of micronutrients and chemicals that are in whole foods, that, I mean, each chemical would take, I don't know how many months to go through the FDA and claim as a chemical, whereas why don't you just take the food itself? It's easy, it's better for you, and it just makes sense. And that's really what we try to remind patients is, it doesn't have to be difficult to
Yeah.
work. So
Yeah, well, while we have you on the main screen for our YouTube viewers, I want to ask you a question from a listener that talks about the lab services side of things, because that's kind of your area. He mentioned a moment ago about the thousands of dollars of testing. Why don't you tell us quickly about New Life and the lab services and why there's such a big gap in price? Talk a little bit about the price difference and why it's helpful for you guys to be able to run the tests that you do, and how much better it is than the little bit of testing that costs so much more in mainstream.
yeah, so as we all know and have experienced, as patients and going to hospitals and clinics, doctors' offices, and getting labs, is there's really not a way around insurance. And if you do try to pay out of pocket, it's going to be an arm and a leg, right? And so the nice thing about what we do is we can actually go around all of that. Since we do not fall in the category of mainstream medicine, we can basically do our own thing and we can run our own lab tests. We have a lot of at-home test kits that we can send. We do in-house and mobile phlebotomies, and we also have a lot of discount lab services that we use as third parties to also assist with that. So the nice thing is we have a lot of options and a lot of variety in what we do. And going back to what I just mentioned about being individualized, that's the great thing about lab services in what we do. We can target our tests and as well as our prices to gear towards your individual health issues. So that's very important to point out, is we don't have to follow the same rules as mainstream healthcare. So,
and you end up with more in-depth and better answers for patients without all that nonsense.
Absolutely.
So one of the places you can go if you're not in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, to be able to go to New Life Naturopathic, you can go to newlifenaturopathic.com. We've got it on the screen for our YouTube viewers. Dr. Tyndall, while we are talking about websites, speaking of lifestyle change, one of the websites, the website that you guys have designed is newlifeweightloss.com. That's new-lifeweightloss.com. So we've talked about this in another episode, but I guess we're kind of along the lines now of where we can kind of refresh some of our new viewers and listeners of why this website and why should people check it out.
Basically, once again, it's kind of a brainchild of Miriam's and I. It's because I was one time, they complained, I'm like, man, the hardest thing to get people to do, because before we used to do food diaries, have patients go home, write down everything you eat, and we give them a list of foods and cookbooks. And people just, the hardest thing you'll ever do is change your lifestyle, dietary habits. But bar none. Seriously.
Guilty.
The reason being is you're an addict. You know, the food industry puts chemicals in it. They make you an addict. And just like any addict, I don't care, you know, I told the patient, hey, you're no better than a heroin addict. They're like, oh.
Well, you stirred some demon up there, right there.
Well, I say stuff to people that they don't want to hear about. I said, look, you're no
Get their
better than a
attention.
heroin
Yeah, that definitely does. Yeah.
And I said, because when I pull out the card to give to people about, okay, here's a weight loss program, you think I pulled the gun on them. I got to get out there. So anyhow, I said, like any addict, you have to have support. You have to have a plan. So what we did when we put together this program, of course, we talked to a lot of our patients and interviewed them and said, what do you want in a program? And of course, we did it as a weight loss program because that's what everybody's looking for is weight loss. But our philosophy is healthy food, healthy body, healthy weight. And so the gist of the program is we put these, we go out and find common recipes. And what we do is we put those recipes through a nutritional calculator. We put all the ingredients in and it gives us a readout of how many carbs and vitamins and all this other stuff that's in it. And then what we do is we start to tweak the recipe and to get it to where we want it to be as far as nutrition, especially the carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. And so we have to change things out. And then once I get the recipe done, then we try to cook it, make sure it tastes good, because it's a real simple philosophy of that. If I eat tasty food and food that good, food that I enjoy, guess what? You stay with it. If you have to choke down these shakes that some of these places will get you to do, you don't want to stay with it because it's torturous. And you know what we're trying to do is give you healthy food that's delicious, that makes you healthy. So the goal of the whole program is really to stabilize the blood sugar levels. So what happens, you start to bring your insulin output down and normalize your insulin output, which then your body can go in fat burning mode, because insulin is a very heinous hormone in high dosages in our body. We want it in low dosages so we can uptake sugar and do things like that. But in high dosages causes obesity and cardiovascular disease and a lot of problems. So that's what the goal of the program is. Mm-hmm. I have one of my patients, we were talking about it today, and she was like, oh man, I spent a lot with my sister and I spent a lot of money. Is this expensive? I go, what do you mean it's expensive? She goes, well, my sister and I went out shopping. We spent $90 on groceries. And I go, okay. Said, how many meals was that? She goes, well, that lasted us for 2 weeks. I go, and I said, you split it between you. So your cost is $45. She said, yeah. I said, so $45, and she's eating the recipes one meal a day for now. I said, so that's $45 and it's 14 meals, right? She goes, so yeah. I said, so you're looking at what? Less than $4 a meal. And then she went, oh,
you can't hardly get that anywhere anymore.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that's what I kind of said. So let's say if you went to McDonald's and you ordered a Big Mac and fries and a drink, that's what, $10 now?
Probably.
I said, so you ate a delicious, healthy meal for $4.
I'm glad that I didn't know off the top of my head the Big Mac price, by the way. I'm very happy that I don't know that off the top of my head.
I look it up because when I talk to patients, I want to be kind of current when I'm telling them stuff. But that's a gist of it. So, Miriam and I, we've spent, it took us about 6 months, Miriam, to put together, to put it together and lay it out and get it balanced out and then put it to, we got in there shopping lists for you that you can download a shopping list to kind of keep you on track. Mm-hmm. The first 2 weeks, you could actually download the shopping list of those meals that you need for that, whatever. We have 4 different programs. We have 3 meals a day, 2 snacks, 2 meals a day, three snacks, a vegetarian and a vegan program, because most vegetarians and vegans eat terrible. They become pastatarians and breaditarians.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you run a vegetarian or vegan who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we will probably spend some more time talking about this website because it is spectacular. But we do have a couple of more questions here. And we've already talked about philosophy. We just talked about putting this weight loss program together. How about this one? There's a question here about cancer. And you've told me some stories about different patients that have come to you at the end of their rope after cancer treatments and all the other stuff from mainstream and come to you. So I already know that you treat it. So tell us a little bit, if somebody's looking to get into talking to a naturopathic doctor about the big C word, What are some things they can know about how it's treated in the right way through naturopathy?
Well, we don't actually treat cancer; we treat people.
Good answer. I like that.
Okay, so um, if you look once again, you're back. If you look at the number one cause of cancer, guess what it is? Lifestyle, diet. Um, some of the exposure, but the vast majority of it's lifestyle and diet. As a matter of fact, a research article a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Stewart was read it to me, is about, hey guys, we kind of get on the lifestyle, the foods that people eat, because we're having an explosion of cancer in this country, which we've had an explosion of processed food and fast food and just, anything like that. So what we do is we try to enhance the body's, there's a really good book that I got. It's Natural Cures in Cancer. Very scientifically done out. And so what we've put together is I have a base protocol that I use to enhance the immune system, liver detoxification, immune system detection of cancer. The other thing that we do is we do our dietary program, and all of our cancer patients that we work with, we put them on the initial ones, we put them all either on the vegetarian or the vegan program for the first 3 months to really bottom out their blood sugar levels, because blood sugar does drive cancer, contrary to what, I had a debate with an MD one time. He goes, oh, that's, because they asked me to come to their office and give them a little talk on what stuff. And he was an oncologist, and he was like, oh, that's bull. And I go, really? I said, what kind of test do you use to see if a person has cancer that spread through the body? Well, we use a bone scan. And I said, so what do you give them? He goes, I go, you give them radioactive sugar, glucose. And what happens, cancer cells metabolize sugar up faster than the regular cells do. So you get a buildup of radioactive materials. And when they scan them, well, there's a hot spot there, a hot spot here. And I said, your own test tells you that sugar has an impact on it. There's a guy who won the Nobel Peace Prize for a correlation of cancer and abnormal sugar metabolism. And he won it I believe it was 1923. So they've known for a long time.
We've had that information for that long.
Yeah.
And that doctor still called you crazy.
Yeah. Well, you want to know another one? Because here's what a lot of people don't understand too. A lot of research out there doesn't get dumped. They're like, oh, wait a minute, this didn't come out the way we wanted it, so we're going to scrap the research. Miriam can really attest to this because she's a researcher. There's just one I read here the other day that they did back in the 40s or 50s when cornflakes came out. They did a research study that they gave the rats, they had a control group, they fed rats regular rat food, and then they had a control group they gave cornflakes to, and then they had another control group they gave the box that the cornflakes came in.
I see where this is going.
Okay. The rats who ate the cornflakes died sooner than the rats who ate the box.
Then ate the cardboard.
They ate the cardboard. There's more nutritional quality in that cardboard than there was in the cornflakes.
I didn't even read the study, and I knew that's where you were going. That's... Miriam, do you want to add anything to that about researching and what happens to these studies?
Yeah. So unfortunately, the FDA and the CDC have a lot of input as to what information goes out. And a lot of this public information and even these public studies that you see, some of them, whether intentionally or not intentionally, kind of just get hidden in the back burner. And a lot of them are available, but some of them become less easy to retrieve, if I will. And so, and that nice. yeah, right. So it is very unfortunate, just how much control the government and big pharma has on a lot of research and these studies and what comes out. And what.
So what you're saying is the research that's being done is done well, but what's being released from the research is what's being controlled.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
And a lot of what should be public information becomes more and more controlled in what information the whatever agency is trying to conceive. So it just kind of goes back to all those commercials that you see, the pill commercials. I mean, commercials in healthcare and in medicine are banned in a lot of other countries. So the fact that we capitalize on that is still pretty sad, and I hope and foresee for that to change. But I think that's part of why we're doing what we're doing, is
Right.
to hopefully convey to the people and the world out there that there is an alternative, and you don't have to be limited to all of that. So and
And lifestyle change, while scary, sometimes it can be done.
yes,
yeah.
exactly. It is possible. It is hard. We know it's hard. We've been through it. We're not saying it's easy, but that's what we're here for. We're here to guide you and support you, because not only have we been through it, but we have the experience and the background to help. So
Yeah.
so that's really important to
Yeah.
recognize.
Well, folks, our first Q&A episode is about wrapped up. We will probably do some more of these. And so for those of you that are sitting there thinking, well, I wish they would have answered this question or that question, we have a place for you to go. You can email your questions at contactnaturopathic@gmail.com. And if you need help with that, you can just go to our YouTube channel. If you're listening by podcast and don't know how to spell it, contact newlifenaturopathic@gmail.com. You can email your questions to our team, and we'll do our best to answer them on the episodes. Now, the website that we were talking about for weight loss and lifestyle change, that is new-lifeweightloss.com. And then the main website for the practice is newlifenaturopathic.com. And so for our Pursuit of New Life team, we are thankful that you have come alongside us here for this episodic journey that we're on through podcast and through video. And I know, by the end of the episode, the fact that I can even still speak straight, it's fun. So Miriam, thank you for your input. Dr. Dean Tyndall, as always. And we'll have Dr. Stuber back with us next time here on Pursuit of New Life.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Thanks, Lindsay.